have a dark secret to tell you. I just love Chinese food, anything Chinese food. And I have another dark secret, is that I had to live with an autoimmune, one of the worst ones, Scleroderma, and also the Sjogren's syndrome, very terrible. Another dark secret is that I use none other than art therapy to help me cope with it. Because in my introduction, diet and exercise and medicine do have limitations that everybody could understand. And I also use art therapy, and how it started for me. I had this job in San Diego at Naval Medical Center, San Diego, and I had this Navy captain, because I'm prior military. I had this Navy captain as a boss, and she was just a sociopath. Very horrible, destroying people's lives. And so one day I went home because I had to take the train to work. Some of you know about the coaster. And then I thought, I needed something when I go home to relax, to just unwind, because you need to de-stress yourself. And all of a sudden, it's like I need to get my Kenmore sewing machine, and that was really life-changing for me. And from that, I took a lot of sewing classes. And then there was a point in my life where I don't know why or how, I couldn't do anything. I was always late to work, couldn't keep a job. Finished college, finished 2 college degrees. It's like, what happened to me? And I was like, why am I failing? And one day, I made this simple top. I mean, it's nothing spectacular. I never wear it anymore. Never wear it. But this top, I would just leave it hanging on the chair. You know how when your clothes are not too dirty, you hang on a chair or on your bed to wear again? And so just leaving it somewhere, I looked at it constantly and I thought, hey, I'm not a failure. I made this top, and seeing that little top made me feel like I wasn't a total failure. And you don't necessarily have to have any art skills or anything. For instance, recently I went to the Phoenix Art Museum. It's like I went to this meeting, and I just had enough energy to go down there. And it was so hot that day. But you can go to the art museum, and that will be a part of your therapy for art therapy if you don't have any art skills. I think occupational health would probably, people need to do a study and question people if they did art therapy of something, of sewing or using their hands, than those who did not. Because some people with autoimmune, their hands are non-functional. With quilting, it helps me problem solve when I have like very severe fatigue, very, very severe, more severe than 30 years ago, because it kind of changes over time. I think if you had chronic illness, it does change from time to time. And with fatigue, it's like, how do I get over it? And I always use art as a substitute to get better, because I don't elect to take the medicines that doctors prescribe. And another thing with art therapy, it helps you communicate better. So I like the Quilting Guild. The women, when we come together, I remember we did a quilt for the Orlando shootings, if you guys remember that. We started making hearts, and so we worked as a team. One was good at doing ironing, and one was good at organizing how to design it. And me, it's just like I need to sit there, just zigzag stitches all the way through. And also, it also helps you with your communication. If you have issues with somebody, or you're not too sure how to say something. And a good example where it helps communication is the veterans art class, because a lot of the veterans have post-traumatic, but a lot of them have used art therapy to help them overcome. But that's a good example when they go to art classes where they can learn to socialize with other veterans and the instructor and all the guests that come in there. And another thing art therapy helps is the inner critic. Everybody has that inner critic where you have self-doubt. I have a little voice in myself that gives me, self-doubt. Well, No, one time I joined another quilt guild, and there was in Lake Havasu, and it was a women, it was like hundreds of women in the group at that meeting, and we have show and tell, and I showed this piece that I did, you know, and then they all started laughing. I don't know where it came from this side, this side. They were all laughing at my artwork, and I was so devastated. And I didn't know what to do. And I talked to the president who was standing here and the vice president. It's like, well, what's going on? And then the president told me, just go back to your seat and sit down. That's like, that won't happen again. But I did this artwork that they laughed at. But then I got an award, you know? I turned it in and I got an award.
Why would they laugh at that?
Because they don't want, it's not all quilted.
Why would they laugh?
Why would they laugh? Or maybe there was joy, projecting joy.
Was it a quilting group?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I think it's, you know, I forgive them. I mean, it's good. I mean, I tell the story. I think it's a learning process for them and myself, because that was a good experience for me. It's not all negative, even though it was like very painful when I went home. And also, I wanted to point out that art therapy also helps when you're down. And I wasn't really down yesterday. I was trying to make door prizes over there at the end. So I said, okay, I got it. Let me try making this pillowcase. It's like, okay, I really like, you know, it was really cute, a very adorable fabric. You know, I made this pillowcase. You know, just doing this simple thing, and it's like I kind of ran out of time because I had to prepare for things today, but this made me feel a little bit better, even though this is as I got for 10 minutes, but you can't take it home yet. When you want to start an art journal, my art journal is not really good, but it's a start. It's an unfinished project. And everybody should get one of these. You just go to the Michaels and get a booklet like this. And one day maybe we could learn to do one of these talks.
Absolutely.
Because you could put whatever you feel like in there. Like I have a little bit of my military and then a little bit about my dad. And this is when I was on active duty. And you could write things that bother you. And here's things I didn't finish. And then, you know, I would draw things like this, and for the bird lovers. And I didn't have time to finish this, but I just shoved it in here. And if anything bothers me, write it in here too. And you don't have to show this to anybody, okay?
If you keep an art journal.
Yeah, that too. If you have time to look at it. Yeah, sometimes I don't, but this is an example. This was the picture from the flyer. This is a hand I had created myself. So this made a really good flyer. And I found out later everybody wants to buy a print. It's like I don't have that together yet. But yeah, I made that. You can start real slow, go look around your house. Don't spend a lot of money. You can get recycled items. And a gal named Elizabeth Scribble is really good at recycle items. She gets a cardboard box. I think she takes the box cutter and cuts it, and she makes a picture of it somehow, like journaling art. And I thought, wow, that's so cool. And one day I wanted to do that too. Or Masonite board, she just makes her own art on it using recycled items. You can also join guilds, like I told you, I gotta join this guild and that guild, because you need that creativity. Usually people like that come in creative ways. If you're a veteran, you can join, I think there's like 10 centers, 10 art classes across Arizona that you could take classes from if you're a veteran. And in some, they welcome the public too. I wrote this, how to use creativity, art therapy to rise above physical limitations. So I wrote that, and then I got an award for that one. So you could write about it too. So writing is really powerful, and also I wrote to go to the Scleroderma patient conference this year in Philadelphia. It's like, phew, I got picked again for that. Art therapy, you must find your inspiration. And there was a painting I did. Anybody know Paul Klee? Paul Klee, the artist? He knows light and dark and dull and bright. He knows how to use his colors. Very popular, and we have a lot in common because the artist too had scleroderma and he died from it. He didn't get a diagnosis, it was later on because he had difficulties swallowing. This artist died June 29th, and that's the National Day for Scleroderma Awareness. So the whole month of June is Scleroderma Awareness Month. So I don't know how many people knew that. So I appreciate Paul and then Donna, you wore the colors. I thought were in support of it.
Talking about that you mixed aloe vera with dye?
Right.
What? How did you ever get that idea?
You go to the 99-cent store and you buy the aloe, the cheapest aloe, and you get the inks and you make your medium and you mix it and you get prepared for dyeing cotton. And maybe one day I could teach it one day. And it has to be prepared for dyeing cotton. It can work on any cotton, but this is better. These are pictures I did, kind of inspired from Buddy. And there was a photographer that day, I think it was 4 years ago, Dan?
Yeah, her name was Debbie Batchelor.
And she took photographs of his eye. And I said, okay, it gave me inspiration to do this kind of artwork. And it could be this way, that way, it doesn't matter. Experiment, just experiment. Find what suits you, what inspires you. Because a lot of things inspire me. Like when I went to the Phoenix Art Museum, they took one of those embroidery hoops, and that was a nice design just by itself. I thought, okay, I'm gonna get mine out and do the same thing, because I can't stand my hoops. So that would make a good art project. But whether it's music, sometimes music can help you. Sometimes, of course, art, visual art can help, and writing can be powerful also. And last, in conclusion, is the sustainability in handling a chronic illness is really hard. It is so hard because I'm getting a lot of nods. Most people, I don't know if anybody told you this, but it's very hard to handle, and most do not deal well with it. It never goes away. So I use art therapy as the substitute, as another tool, as another modality, treatment modality. And also, I don't let your disability stop you from doing what you want to do. You might have to do it differently, because I'm always having to do things differently now. And that's where problem solving can help you. And most of all, just let that art inspire everyone. And in conclusion, I had made last night some door prizes for everybody. If you earn them, you have to earn them. I'll start with this. Section 1, what did you learn today? Anybody?
That art therapy could help with chronic illness.
Okay. Good. Okay, section 2, just shout out.
The art therapy can relieve stress that makes chronic illness worse.
And any more?
Well, yeah, art therapy helps relieve stress, because stress leads for me to inflammation,
Make it worse.
things like that. That makes it worse.
Okay. All right. Good enough.
Art
Okay.
therapy will help.
I made these little cozies,
Oh, they're adorable.
and so all the bird people are jealous. They probably wanted them. Okay. Section 3.
Art, I think for people who have chronic illness and are in pain, or their lives have been changed because of their abilities to do the things that they've done before are limited now. They're different. So it gives people an opportunity to be able to find a sense of self, a sense of purpose, and it definitely creates an environment to help them deal with their pain and their discomfort, whether it's emotional and physical.
Yeah, both, yeah. Very good. I guess you learned things, unless you learned how to speak from Dan. Dan's a good speaker too.
Yes, it is.
I'll give you a choice. This is a gal who she has a Scleroderma. She wrote this little book. It's very nice. Or do you want this one I made, this pumpkin?
I think the book is probably something I could read. And
Okay. I like the way this lady, she formats the book.
Oh, nice, thank you.
You're welcome. And this one going back to, okay, anybody, I made this pumpkin. It's Halloweeny. Okay, Simon.
I didn't know that Paul Clay had Scleroderma. That's something I just learned.
Yeah, and there's more about Paul Clay than I mentioned. There's more to him.
Very good artist.
Yeah, very good artist. There's more to him back in the time during the Second War. And I know you're crazy about these too. Yeah, that, you're welcome. And the last one, I made this little sign that says inspire. Either you could put it on a little nail, or you could just get 3M tape and tape. Okay.
Well, Lucy has my heart.
Oh, wow.
She comes to me and she says, "You are my favorite art teacher." And as I've told everybody, I don't teach you how to be an artist. I teach you to be fearless. With a person like myself, and they look at my art and go, huh. So it's a reaction, in my opinion.
Lucy, I just want to say, my sister's an artist, and she showed her stuff at this country club, and she got a lot of laughter, and people made all kinds of insults, and you know, and you'd have to know my sister, but anyway, she loved that because they noticed it, okay? And also, not only with nervousness, but people do, I consider laughter, and a lot of times people connecting with you.
Yeah, what they expect.
Entrenched in their own ideas, and if you go to a quilting meeting, they may want it to be a certain pattern or a certain way, and
Yeah.
if it's not perfectly that way, then
Yeah,
it's not
I
okay.
remember this quilt guild in Havasu, they did not like what you like, the skulls. And I had a print that had skulls, and I made swim shorts out of it, and it was made fun of. It's like, whoa.
oh, they were not
But that's
nice.
okay, I know Charlene, I'm good now, you know? It's like she likes skulls.
Yeah.
Also, what happened probably is that maybe one person started to laugh, and then the next one next to them wanted to imitate. And so that the whole room was trying not to be different than the rest of the room. So they were doing like the Joneses do next door, and that was what they were just
Yeah,
laughing.
that's probably
But it
true.
had nothing to do with you.
Laughter would say that I've known Lucy since we were in high school in
2008.
California, and I've seen you come such a long way. I am so
Yeah,
proud of
thank
you.
you. Yeah,
I've
thank
been
you.
through so much with you, and she is now in Gilbert because I forced her to come here. And I love you more than life.
Yeah, I
and
love
I'm
you
so
too.
proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's go.
Be inspired.